Yeah.
Good for me, it's good for everyone. Okay, let's get fast to the Gemora. It's the last 5 lines in Daf Hamad base. Wow.
Mazel tov.
Mazel tov, yes.
So
Yeah.
You look good.
Amen.
You look
We got
good.
from David.
Oh, David is here.
Yeah. I spoke to him the other night. He stopped by the upshare. He said it was very nice.
If anybody see the Istanya, he's
the son picked it up.
Who?
The son.
Someone, his son picked it up? Okay, very good.
A few other things.
Okay, very good. Baruch Hashem. Okay, the last 5 lines of Hamad base. Tana Ramon. Amoitzi mechanus leflatya. Chanus is a store, which is Shusayachid. Platya is a plaza in front of the Chanus, which is a Rishus Harabim. So he's going from Rishusayachid to Rishus Harabim. Derech Stav. Stav is a place that's in between, that has benches, that people sit there. And Rashi says it's not a Rishus Harabim, it's not a Shusayachid. Rashi says Mokim Mitztabos, Sheyoshim Soichim V'Shem Karmelis Aleh. Because it's a Carmelist you have going from a Rishus Hayach to Rishus Ram, they're a Carmelist. Chayiv. Rashi, ready reading Rashi? Why Chayiv? The Bistav Lafush, he didn't stand because he wanted to rest up. So he made Akida, he picked up something in a Rishus Hayach, he dropped it off, he made Anoch in a Rishus Rabin. So 2 plus 2. He made Akira Shusayachid, Anoch and Shusarabim is Chayiv. But Ben Azai says no. Ben Azai, he said it's poite. So Gemora Bishlam Ben Azai, I understand Ben Azai. Why? Because he holds to his own every step he takes, it's as if he stepped. As if he stopped. So when he went from the Shusayachid to the Shusarabim, he stopped in between. He didn't go directly from Shusayachid to the Shusarabim. And that's probably why he holds it's potter. Even if they hold that it's as if he went straight from Rishus Hayach to Rishus Harabim, where do we find in the Mishkan that this is Chayiv? Remember that we learned in the first Tosfos that Hitzah is Malacha Gerua. It's not like, so in other Malachas, whatever is rational and it makes sense, it's similar. What's the difference if I take flour and water or I take cement and water? No, the Torah said only flour and water. Cement and water. What's the difference? I'm taking a powdery thing and I'm putting it with water, shine. So by all malachas we say the same thing. Besides by malachas Eitzah, which Tosfos sets right in the beginning of the tone, it's malacha gerua. So a lot of things, if there's a little different than what was done in the Mishkan, then we don't count it a malacha. So also here. So the Gemara is asking. So even if you'll say that it's if he went directly from Rishus Hayach to Rishus Harabim, but for it's a little different than it was in the Mishkan. So how do you know? It's taka. It's as if he walked straight from Rishus Harabim to Rishus Hayach or the other way around.
Even there was a comment.
Even there's a comment. But for where do we see in the Mishkan such a thing? It's simple. If a person carries a chayfetz b'rishus harabim, hosam lav afagav the kama the nakit levi azel. Even if he walks for a very long time, he's potter. Kimanach chayiv. As soon as he puts it down, he's chayiv. So we see that as long as he walked for an hour, he's potter. And when he puts it down, he's chayiv. Here also, while he's walking through a carmelos, which is potter. But when he puts it down, eventually in the rishus harabim is chayiv. So Gemora says, "Come on, me dummy." Theoretically, if he would have put it down, it's a makam chiyuv. If he puts it in the middle space, which is the stuff, the place of the benches, it's a makam patur. It's a makam patur. It doesn't mean makam patur. It means it's a place which is not a shusayach rabin. So it's not chayiv.
What's the get on makam patur?
Later we're going to learn about here. He means makam patur. It's potter. You didn't carry it from Rishus Hayach to Rishus Harabim. It doesn't mean like Makim Ptur. You mean
Right, that's
one of the 5 places, one of the 4 Rishuyas. Ella, the Gemara says, no, I'll tell you I'll do a different try. Ella, if a person carries in the Rishus Rabim only 4 amas, exact 4 amas. So what happens? Had he put it down within the 4 amas, he walked only 2,
3 amas.
and he puts it down, it'd be potter, right? Now, so you see also here that he makes akira, and he walks, and while he's walking between the akira and the anocha, if he had dropped it here in the middle, he would have been potter, but because he took it the whole length, he's chayiv. The Gemara again says, come on, this is not a raya. So the Gemara says, come on, hachanami lo ishna, mi dami, hachanami lo ishna. The Gemara asks me dami. Hasam lagabe lahai gavra makim pturu l'kulam makim chiyuv. Shusarabim is a makim chiyuv. For this person, it's a technical thing that he's not chayiv until he carries it 4 hamas in the shusarabim. Because of, but over here it's different. He went from Rishus Yachid to Shalam, but he went through a makim which is not a Rishus Yachid, not a Rishus Rabim in a Torah. So the Gemara says, okay, fine, I'll find you a teretz. And here Tosfos says, Tosfos is a small Tosfos on the side, a third from the top. In time of my portion, Lan Yoisa, Derech Tzid Rishus Rabim, Derech Stab, Yeshlama, the Derech. That the normal thing in the normal house is that not every house you go straight from the Rishus Harabim to Rishus Harabim. There's a little porch, there's a little something in between, which is not a Rishus Harabim in Gansen, and not a Rishus Yochid in Gansen. Whatever, maybe it's a Karmelos Taka. So, and probably in the Mishkan there was also such a situation. That's common. That's a pretty common thing. A chanuz to a plati with a stove. It's a specific case that they didn't have fixed benches. They didn't have in the midbar. They didn't have like the city of New York, which puts benches here and there and everywhere. There's just didn't have bad. Okay, but such a situation of that in between the Rishus Yochid and the Rishus Harabim, there's a tzid Rishus Harabim they had. And probably they used to carry from here to and that was considered a malacha. So that's what the Gemara is answering. Again, that he went from Rishus Yochid to Risham, but there is a tzid Rishus Harabim, a little in between. So the Papa.
What's the dinner?
It's a Carmelist. It's a Carmelist. It's a Carmelist. But that's called it's a Carmelist. Well, we'll talk about it right now. It's a machloikis, but for sure the Gemara is going to say the maskona that l'chuli alma. There is a certain siddur rishus ha'abim that l'chul alma is really a Carmelist. Why? Because a few people if it gets packed in the streets, a few people get into that space, but most people don't. So therefore, it has a din of a Carmelist.
It's almost like in the highway, you have like in the middle of the highway.
Exactly, the shoulder, exactly. Right.
You don't drive there, but it's there. So it's a highway, it's not a highway.
B'diuk. And befrat noch in the highway, sometimes they have.
Probably made for that.
Right. Siddur Rishus Harabim is that way, right?
Stuff all over money.
Right, exactly. Especially like you have today, that there is the road, and they don't want people to go off the road. So they have like these things that you. Huh?
Soldier.
Yeah, no, in the floor they have like.
Runways.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's nicht so geschmack to go off the road because then it gives you a headache. It's there so people falling asleep, Lamashal will wake up. So they wait.
It's a road, but it's not a road.
So the most of the rabbim are not going to go there. Most of the cars are not going to drive there. It's another shail of cars. We discussed it. If cars is considered, but naniach cars would be like people walking. Yeah. Concept of it. Tzidur Rishus Harabim is beyond those things. Are like Tzidur Rishus Harabim.
600 ribo.
Oh, that we'll talk next week. Exactly. If we need 600 ribo or not. But obviously it means a lot of people.
Wait, what's the stove again?
Stove benches. Benches. Yeah, they used to have a marketplace. They used to have in the cities, it was a regular thing that they had marketplace or stores, and then they had the public domain in front, and between they had like benches, fixed benches that were in there. That the guys from the Chanuyis used to sit there, used to play chess by lunch.
You still have that, benches and.
Yeah.
Like Ocean Parkway,
Like Ocean Parkway.
Ocean Parkway.
Exactly. Baskif lay the papa hinegler baron da betzid shonam lav shu sarabim dami. Eller belaz ben Yaakov da betzid shu saram kir shu sarabim dami. He holds the tzidr shalom have the same dinner shu sarabim ma'ekel meima. Amar loy the bache breder week ema the shamat ler belaz ben Yaakov da tzidr shu saram kir shu sarabim dami. Hege de leke chifufi. If it's comfortable, it's just that there's a yellow line, there's a white line painted saying Ad Kam Mokum Rishus Harabim, but a lot of people walk past it. So the place that's past it is still called a Rishus Harabim. There is these little things sticking out called chifufi, like the example that I gave before, that there's on the road, on the side of the road, there's these things that go if you're going to drive on it. So if in the side of it, between the Rishus Yachim and Rishus Harabim, there's something that is chifufi, little beams, little something. Learn Rashi in a second. Noyetzis, you say this ktanis lefnei hakoisel, sheyachuf v'shem hagolos hakoronis v'lo yachuf v'koisel v'yapilu. The people do it commonly. If you, there's a house it's like funny that every few years they have to put a new one in Crown Heights. If you go down Brooklyn. So there's one part where it goes down, it starts going down a little steep, which is on Crown Street in the corner of Brooklyn. This guy's actually machut until someone lives right over here. So it does, and he puts in these strongest, and he has like these massive bars. It's a healthness. That is the spot where every few months a car goes and the rails and goes into his garden. It's a healthness. By now he has these thick piece things. So that's mamash chifufi. That's chifufi.
Well,
that the people have a house, and in front of the house is a Rishus Harabim, but they don't want the agolos ukronas banging onto their house, because every time it bangs on their house, it's not good.
Like right? You're going.
Move there.
Right.
There's a sidewalk of one.
Right. So people don't want that the agolos ukronas. The agolos ukronas should bang, so they build chifufi. So over there, in the space between the house and the chifufi, people could walk there.
It's not the Shudabim, not the Shudabim.
No, so therefore, it's taka. It's a din of a carnivalist over there. Taka over there, l'chuli alma. It's a carnivalist. Everyone will agree, and that space, that type of tziddur shadram l'chuli alma. Would anyone disagree that space is not really a Rishus Harabim? And since again, back to what the Tosha says, it stands to reason that even in the Midbar there was such a space that was a Rishus Harabim, as you say, Yochid, and there was in between where they had like these chifufim. The Levim didn't want people to get too close to the wagons. So they might have put some red cones there or something.
The Mishkan actually had a gate around it.
The Mishkan itself, but the Shiloh's when they traveled.
Right.
So it could be that there was a Rishus Harabim, which is the place of the Yidden are, and there's Rishus Yochid, which is the actual Agolos, and could be that they put some cones, some red cones, to keep the people not, they didn't want the people to...
Maybe they have tent.
Something. They put something there that made it not...
sleep.
In the tent is a Rishus Yochid.
There's a Shudayachid.
Yeah, but the usually when they're carrying from Rishus Harabim to Shiochid, is usually we're thinking the way the Gemora says that they were carrying the krochim from the public domain onto the wagons. So I'm just describing. So what does it mean? There's a chifufi. Could be that the Levim that put these red cones, they didn't want people to go right next to the wagons. So they put red cones there. But a person could walk past the cones. So that was a tziddur. It was a common thing to have a tziddur Rishus Harabim. So they had a Rishus Harabim, they had a Rishus Yochid, and they had a tziddur Rishus Harabim. And still, we learned from the Malachas HaMishkan that you're not allowed to take from Rishus Yochid to Rishus Harabim, or the other way around. Oh, so you have it, ayah.
Actually, by the Mishkan, I remember the length of the koshim and the length of the agolet.
It's mamish b'diuk nifla, right?
Not one extra.
Right, those oisnets and right. The whole why was
make a space between the people.
I don't have it. And if it's true, then they didn't. If all you have is a couple of guys give a zet and the kroshim go flying because it was b'diuk nifla. So maybe the Levim had like these cones to keep the people away. So between the cones and the agolos was like tzidei rishus harabim, and they took the kroshim from the rishus harabim to the shiyachah derech tzidei rishus harabim, and still the Torah calls it a malacha. Oh, so that's similar to carrying from the chanus to the platya derech stav. Showing.
They were genius how they built up a Mishkan.
For sure, that was unbelievable genius. I'm going to be Yochanan Moed ben Azai bezoidik. But even Ben Azai is Moed that if he was standing in the chanus and he threw something into the Shus Rabim and it went flying through the stove, that everyone agrees that that's chayiv. Tanya namihochi hamoitzim chanus laflatya derech stov chayiv. Echad hamoitzi, echad hamachnas, echad hazoirik, echad hamoishi. That's the chachamim. They say, I don't care. If you're taking Rishus Yochid or Rishus Rabim, you're chayiv. I don't care that you went through a stove, which is a carmelist. Ben Azai, Maramoitziv, Machnas Potter. Why? Because it's as if you stopped in between. But Amoishid Vazodik, if you threw it, then you're chayiv. Okay, let's go to Toisus. I want to look at one Toisus here. Maybe just the beginning of this Toisus. Let's look at the beginning. The Feyamid Beis, the last Toisus. Huh? Moshe.
He didn't do any stop.
He didn't do any stop. If the Zodik is, he throws.
He did.
And Moshe is he does hashota. He didn't throw it. The stove was a very small space, and he's reached it with his hand. Okay. Let's look at the Tosfos. Bishleim LeBen Azai. Here, the big Tosfos. Dafei Amid Beis. Yeah. So let's summarize. It's simple. So we have a Gemora here. An interesting case that we have Rishus Yochid and Rishus Rabin, and in between we have a little space which is a carmelist. The Gemara describes it. There's a chanus and a platya and a stove, which was a common thing in the days of the Gemara, that they had stores, and then they had the public domain in between. They had these benches that people sat on to rest, to play chess, v'chulu v'chulu. So it wasn't such a Rishus Rabin, but it had the din of a carmelist. And the Gemara says it's a machloikis. And according to Chachamim is chayiv. And in the end of the Gemara says that the Chachamim were right. Where do they see it in the Mishkan? That stands to reason that also in the Mishkan with the Agolos that there was a similar situation. But Ben Azai says no. Ben Azai says he doesn't like that. He doesn't like that. And the Gemara says, why is Ben Azai not like that? Because he holds mahalach ka'oin medami. Because if he steps out of the Rishus HaYochid, every step is as if that's it. He stopped. So he went from Rishus HaYochid to Carmelist. Then he went from a Carmelist to Rishus HaRabim. So there's no chiyuv min haTorah over there. Okay. Tosfos asks, Bishlam LeBen Azai, Kosher Lari, Matzorech Lahai Time, that the Ben Azai didn't tell us his reason. So why do we need this reason of Mahalach Koimed? Leima Bishlam LeBen Azai, Lo Eshkachen Kahagav, the Mechayev, Kedeporich, my time al Rabbanon. At this point, we said, according to Rabbanon, I don't care Mahalach Koimed, not Mahalach Koimed. You never found it in the Mishkan. So what are you telling me that's such a malacha? So the Gemara at this point should have said, we never found in the Mishkan such a malacha. So that's why he doesn't hold of it. Yeah, who cares the whole lamdas of Mahalach Koimed and that? Who's telling you that he has an opinion about that? He never found in the Mishkan such a thing. At this point, we don't know. Obviously, in the question, we don't know the answer. That's what Tosfos is asking. And Tosfos forget. Tosfos explains himself. Because at the end of the Gemara, we see that he was moed bezoidik. High time, akatelo yoda the moed bezoidik. The yoda lifrechname LeBen Azai zoidik Moshe hechad eshkachen. Where you find it? I know from the Mishkan. Oh, you know from the Mishkan. So you can't know the answer in the question. Still Potter, the Mahalach Koimed Medomi. I have two reasons. Number one, I didn't find it in the Mishkan. Number two, even if you found it in the Mishkan, Mahalach Koimed Medomi. Rabbanon, Tiksha, what's going on? Okay. Interesting. Yishalmi Porich al Daita de Ben Azai, the Mischayev al Dal Damas Rishus Al, the Loilam, the Yasa Kamin Shahuncha, Kol Ama Ve'ama V'ya Potter. The Gemara in the Yishalmi asks a simple question. According to Ben Azai, every step you take, it's as if you stopped. So how could every person be chayiv by carrying it from the 4 amas on a Rishus Harabim? It's every step you take, it's as if you stopped. So you never carried 4 amas. Mahalach Kohen Medam. He holds when you walk, it's as if you're standing. Every step, he likes to look at a movie slow motion. Every step is a different thing. Every step is a new thing. Benazir, everything is slow motion. So how could you ever carry something? Dal dam l'shusarabim. It's like a klotz kasha. Yerushalmi say, I don't understand what's going on.
You never have Dalit Amos.
You never have Dalad Amos. So the Gemora says, Mishkachas leb bekoifetz. He jumped. Oh wait, this guy knows how to jump.
Or every 4 hours, he jumped.
4 Hamas. I mean, after 4 Hamas has an issue, jump. I mean, this guy knows how to jump. He probably is trained in bounce you abisala. He jumped. Okay. Vashaz didan lechoshev lapircha. So our Gemara doesn't ask this question. Our Gemara holds the Dal Amashusarachim is a Loch Lamashmasina. So it's like Kazer Eve Kadesh. This is Allah Lamashmasina. I don't care that's considered Mahalach Koim and not Koim. That's what the Abishta said. So and the Tosis is not going to go through like it's cute. Okay, fine. There's a story that the Pnei Menachem itself, the Gerer Rebbe, told the story. The Gerer Rebbe itself, the Maisa Zoi, that the Rebbe Akiva Eger had a grandson, Rebbe Leibele Eger, who became a Chosid. There's a lot of stories about it. And his father was very, very upset. But it said that Rebbe Akiva himself was not so upset. There's a lot of stories developed itself, about very, very cute stories, very juicy stories. Aklal, I mean, he was later a Rebbe, Seif Yomov. I forget this. He wrote a sefer. He considered himself a Talmud of the Kotzker Rebbe, and then he was a Rebbe himself in Lublin. And it said by him, Kol Nidre, just till he got his chachonas done, it was at least 10, 11 at night, till he got himself together. One of I saw when there was a story that his father once he said they say his father sat Shiva because his son became a chassid, and Kiva came to Nachamov and like made jokes of the whole thing. Okay, anyway, he said, okay, but this thing with your davening that it's all over the place, you're here, you're there, can't you daven? So while his father was in town, he davened like Shachris, Munch. It was like the biggest tsar for him. It was like, okay. So the story is told that the Chassidim that were Lamdona, they sat and learned Gemora Yuma. You see it from Kol Nidre, till the night, 4 or 5 hours, they learned Gemora Yuma. And the Chassidim was some Nishge Yochel to learn Gemora Yuma. They were dancing. Asher Mishalechot, what I mean? They were dancing for Yom Kippur. So they asked the Chassidim, dancing in Kippur. They said, we have to do tshuva, we have to do b'simcha, it's a mitzvah, to do b'simcha, so we're dancing. And so Rebbe Leibele Edger was not stam. He's saying he gegangen einmal to the Kotzker Rebbe. He was a chosid, and he was so the Pnei Menachem that at first he was sitting and learning with his aide Rebbe Akiva. Rebbe Akiva said Leibele Chabakash. Oh, his name of the sefer is Toras Amos. The Yerushalmi says, according to Ben Azai, the only time a person can be over by carrying something in Rosh Hashanah is if he jumped 4 amos. The Gemora says, they made a special takona that you can't blow shofar. Why? They were scared that a person is going to carry the shofar. Come on. Do you know how to jump that far? So basically, they're scared that a person is going to not know how to blow the shofar. He's going to go to the Rav's house. I'll carry the shofar, knock on the door. How do I blow shofar?
And you'll jump for
So the Leibele said, Zayde. It's like a mitzvah. A Yid wird springen zu tun a mitzvah. How can it be otherwise? For sure, if a Yid wants to blow shofar and he wants to go, he's going to jump. And it's very, very shkiach that he'll jump daladabas with Rishus Harabim. So springen for a mitzvah. So the Pnei Menachem said, that's the pshat, because Ben Azai l'shitosi yazam. Because Ben Azai says in the Mishnah Pirkei Avos, have a rotz l'mitzvah kala. So this is l'shitosi. Awesome. It's good, huh? The Ben Azai has his shita that you have to jump to do a mitzvah. You have to jump to do a mitzvah. Have a rotz l'mitzvah kala. You have to jump to do a mitzvah. So versteht sich, he's going to jump. That's the shittas ben Azai. So since we're at it already, so there's taka word from the Rebbe.
By the way, rats, it's more than jump.
Right.
Rats, it's like 10 times more than jump.
He's
According to Ben
on
Azai.
springs.
Yeah.
So the Rebbe has taka a word on this Mishnah that Ben Azai is bemes l'shitose. Or the Gemora says that Ben Azai, Reb Shimon Ben Azai, was very sharp. Was very sharp. A lot of times around the Gemara, Harini ke Ben Azai, like Ben Azai was like very sharp. And but the whole life of Ben Azai was sort of a rotzoi. What we call in Chassidus, like he didn't marry, and the Gemara says in Yevamos, he says, Taka, we need to have Jewish children. You know,
We didn't have time because there's zoning.
yeah. But there's a whole shakavatarya. Ping seems apparently he was engaged to the daughter of Rebbe Akiva. It worked out, didn't work out. He had no patience and time to come to the chasna. So
They weren't married.
huh?
They weren't married. They got divorced. No?
It's a shakavatarya over there.
What exactly happened?
There's a shakavatarya. What happened?
It was always warning.
And there's a lotion over there, like mother, like daughter. He wasn't talking such a Talmid Chacham, but she made a tonight with him that he'll go learn. But we see that thing that he said, Ma'esa shenafki choshke b'toyda. And the Gemara says in Chagiga that there were arba shenichnas lapardes, and it didn't work out good for everyone.
What was his name?
Reb Shimon ben Azai. The reason why it's called Azai, Ben Azai,
Only Ben Azai.
the question is why. So there's a few reasons why. One of the reasons is because he passed away young. Why did he pass away young? So the simple reason the Gemara Chagiga is that the Gemara says that 4 people went into the paradise,
Right.
and he was hitzit or mace. So
It's his
What-
Benivga.
hitzit was Ben Zoma. Ben Zoma was hitzit benivga, and he was it's a mace. So the Rebbe says, what's the pshat hitzit of mace? Pashtus, the pshat, Alpi, Drush, Alpi Chassidus is it's similar to what the Oira Chaim says about Nodav Avihu, that they had such an unbelievable chasheka that they had kaloi sanefesh, kol sanaf shel Hashem. So what does it mean? Hitzitz v'nifter. It doesn't say nivga. Forget it was hitzitz v'nifter. Hitzitz v'meis. That means that he saw the sweetness in Gan Eden, and he decided that's it. And that goes well with his general mahalach in life. He was like prone for this to happen. Like Chassidus says, Rebbe Akiva was nichnas b'shalom, v'yotze b'shalom. The diuk is that even when he was nichnas, was b'shalom. The problem with Ben Azai is when nichnas was not so much b'shalom. When he was nichnas, he was already a little high.
In different world.
He was already a little high. At
He was never in the same place.
Shingahata par l'chaim before nichnas. So he was already going there because his neshama was berotze nafshi choshke b'toyre. He had a cheshek to be close to Hashem. So he had a klois nefesh already before he walked in. So when he walked in, and it was too much for him. So we see that Ben Azai, it goes very well with the whole what's the Vrotz Mitzvah Kala. You can't wait. Like the story to say with the Levi Zabaditchev, he was so excited, and it was a Loisa Shachi. He wanted to get the Lulav Nesek. He didn't realize there was a glass in between his house. His hands went straight through the glass because he wanted to get the Lulav Nesek. He was so excited. He didn't notice that
the Shabbos to do with the fish were flying. Where
Yeah.
he's eating Shalom Aleichem and getting from Kiddush, and he stayed quiet, and then all of a sudden he couldn't contain himself any longer, and the fish went flying.
there's a lot of stories I can say. Like
It is
Yitzchak.
good stories, yeah.
So we see tzaddikim that had that tenuah. So Ben Azai had that tenuah. That's why he's a rotz mitzvah kala. And fakert, even though it's a mitzvah kala, so fakert, he saw that the mitzvahs in the Eibush is not negeya kala chamura because it's the oir ein sof shabazeh. So therefore, by him, it was that whole tenuah in life.
I don't understand one thing. They call him most of the time Ben Azai because he died young. Why? Shimon is not. Usually they call you are the son of.
Right,
A lot of places in the Gemara.
right,
But here they call him only
right.
like Shimon Bar Yochai. So
Right.
you know he's the son of Yochai.
Right.
He's only Ben Azai,
Right.
only his father.
It's like in the
So we're missing-
their last names.
Right.
Their first name.
I know, but
It's
we're
a good
missing.
question, but we see also by Ben Zoma that way. A few chachamim
Look at the father's name.
Just the father's name. It could be also to do, but it could be Chachamim were not happy with their avodah. Not chas v'shalom, they were big tzaddikim, but they didn't feel that was the
Not easy what is
That-
he's doing like his father. No.
that wasn't the right avodah that they did, going into the part that's not coming out.
People without
So I mean, Lepoil, the two Chachamim that went in and passed away, they called by the father's name. So anyway, so I just summarized. That's the. I just think it's such a beautiful word. So that's again. So the Rebbe Akiva said, "What kind of takon are you making that we're scared that the Yid is going to go Dal Damas? It's only when you jump Dal Damas." And Rebbe Leibel says, "No, Ben Azai, Yid is going to jump. Yid is going to bounce in order to do the mitzvah." Okay.
They put in Pirkei Avot.
Huh?
They put Ben Azai in Pirkei Avot.
Yeah.
It's very special.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. The end of the Mishnah, it's a beautiful Mishnah. Everotzla mitzvah kala, ubereach min aveda, sheschar mitzvah, mitzvah geres mitzvah aveda geres aveda, sheschar mitzvah schar aveda aveda. The Rebbe says a nice thing, that there's two things. There is, in every mitzvah, we find Hashem in the mitzvah. But within that, why there's the objective thing that I'm finding Hashem in the mitzvah, and then there's I want to satiate my desire to be close to Hashem. Keneged zeh, Ben Azai says two things. Shemitzvah geredes mitzvah v'aveda geredes aveda. That's the etzem thing of a mitzvah and aveda. And what's the schar? Schar mitzvah schar aveda aveda. So because in every mitzvah there's the two things. There is the etzem mitzvah. The beauty of the mitzvah is that it's alakus, and the reward in the mitzvah is that I get kirvas alakim v'toiv.
do this first tape about Shuvah. So they make a song. Mitzvah goreret mitzvah. The song continues Avera goreret avera, and they give it to the Rebbe stick it out.
Just do mitzvah, geres mitzvah.
Oh, they took off the Avera.
Take over.
I didn't know that.
Okay. Bama says I brought tonight. I wanted to start learning the Ma'am Basi LeGani, but I don't know. Should we start? Restart? Yeah. Okay. Fine. Okay.
A couple of minutes.
We got a couple of minutes. Okay. Okay. Could you? Okay.
30 days before
Oh,
the
that's
fast.
right. That's it. We got to we got to Toner Rabbanon, Dalad Rishus L'Shabbos. Toner Rabbanon, Dalad Rishus L'Shabbos. Here, Vav Omid Aleph is mamish in the middle of the page. Toner Rabbanon, Dalad, yeah, by the two dots. By the two dots, yeah. Bes Hashem Yisborach, next week, Tuesday, we'll continue. I mean, next next week is like, wow, starting Dalad Rishus L'Shabbos. It's a biggie.
And we're in the Rambam most of these days. We're starting the new Rambam now.
Right, we just finished Hilchos Mikvos.
I'm saying we already started a new book.
Yeah, we started in the Zikin. Well, I didn't start yet. I'm the last Pedic in Mikvos. Okay, open up the page Zion. There's a losh in the Zohar. The Zohar says that the Eibishter Kuchabrichu. I'm sorry. Tikkun Zohar.
What's the difference?
I'm not sure, but I see over here it says Tikkun Zohar. I thought it's in the Zohar. It's in the Tikkunim. It's the same thing. I don't know. Whatever. There's like there's different halakim in the Zohar. So Kuchabrichu iu maila aden keitzu mata aden tachlis. The Eibush is great to the highest height and great to the lowest low. The emphasis in this mimer, it's a little bit of agav orcha. Because in the mimer, he wants to talk about what's the idea of maila aden kates, and that every yid is zeichet to get this whatever's a schar for doing mitzvahs. But agav orcha, he explains what's the Indian of mata aden tachlis. What does it mean? Kuchabrichu is mata aden tachlis. Like, what's the Pirush Hamilus over here? In the Masha Omer Lamata Ad Ein Tachlis is Koi Ala Gilu Vispashus Shebchinas Ispashus Vebchinas Ein Tzoi Ve'Ein Shir Belik Bol Mamesh Ad Lamata Mata. That it's not talking about the creation. We're talking about the Gilu Lukus that the Eibishter is revealing of himself. Is there's no end to how low it goes. The Madrigas Yosef Acharonis V'Yosef Tachtonis. So in itself Lamata Ad Ein Tachlis. Spashus oir b'chinas ein sof b'lik b'klal ad madrega yosem matamata hina oilmas ein sof shelifnei tzimtzum v'oilma tzilu d'shameir oir ein sof b'gilu yerim kelim la oir de ein sof v'li is the gamma kelim ar helakus mamish im kein ein pella klal the oir ein sof meir sham b'gili v'chein ein pella ma shem yechelim l'kabel oir ein sof hagoli. Mitzvah Shem b'lineder over the next few weeks we'll go into understanding. We're reading a little bit of words that he's saying that there's no chiddush that there is a Gila Lakus in the worlds higher than Atzilus, and even in Atzilus itself, there's no Chiddush. That can't be called Mata Mata, Adein Tachlas. There's no Chiddush in Atzilus, it should be. The Kelim, the Atzilus, Hem Kigufa Lenishmasa. Again, we'll get into that. That's Hashem is bar. Yeah, and just like a body and neshama, we say that even though the two things, but the mamish they become like one. The kelim of atzilus and the lakus and atzilus become like one. So that you can't call mata. Shenking briyatzira asida. The kelim and the oil are two different things. It's like a person and his levushim. Ukemavur bepasachilio, which we say on Friday. The kamal levushim tiknas 9. That the koi al britz yasiya shem rak levushim lavad loira kelim that zilus shem is gufa meslavish bam mashenkein the britz yasiya is levushim tiknas 9. As it says, and this is Tikkun Zohar also. Emailo mekan bekursaya. Emailo b'chinas bina that zilus sere mekan bekursaya loma kisa shoel loma bria shit sfira meitzira v'oifem basiya. Oh, so over there. They're only levushim. They're not like a gufan and a neshama. They are like levushim to a person. Levushim the minay porchen neshmasim of neinosha shema neshamas. That over there in the Tikkun Zohar and the Pasach Leo it says that over there is where the neshamas come from. The roiva neshamas, even though not all the neshamas. Hey neshamas the bri yitzir asiyah, v'rak chad bedor is rishonim neshama datzilus. Roiva neshamas neshama the bri yitzir asiyah. Elosh bri yitzir asiyah gufa hey neshamas heim pnimis. V'alochim chitzonis. V'olamas heim chitzonis de chitzonis. Within bri yitzir asiyah, the most kedusha, the most pnimis is the neshamas. Then there's the malochim, and then the olamas. Bri b'shtalshlus, the shtalshlus or bri yitzir asiyah madrege la madrege bri madreges. Haremis alam stater oir madrege la madrege ad shmagia oir loilam agalgalim azolos haremis ava u misgashem.
For question, Rabbi, before creation, before the world was created, were the neshama created before the angels, or were the angels that Hashem created the angels first?
The neshamas are first.
The angels first. Okay.
Neshamas are first. Kein kol hashpah v'agila ba'olam hatachten ba'olam hageshem ba'olam hazohar adei agagalim v'mazalos. So there is the hashpah that comes into this world through the galgalim, through the mazalos. K'moshenemar memeget full shemesh memeget gerish yirochim k'mayin el cha'esim l'mata she'el l'mazim l'mala makim memegadel shezeh bo mor v'chayis l'kiyah shefei aderech agagalim mazalos. Zeh hashpah l'gedoyle mashal kuz bo behelam hester godel kol kach. Bri be'olam is v'hester the ribe shtaltzos the bri yitzir asiyah ad shabah hashpah chitzonis v'gashmis. So this is where we're saying that Oir Ein Sof is mata adein tachlis. Once we're talking in the world of Bri Yitzir and Asiyah, the Neshamas, the Malachim and the Olamas, especially once you're talking about that there is Mazolas and Malachim. Oh, so there is where there's a Gila Lukus in the way of mata adein tachlis. With Rat Kamashaba Baribe Tzimtzumim Halamas Vastayre Machuch Elias Dover Heipach Malakus Lagamar Vahainu Lishkoyach Lashem Lagame Chaz V'Shalom. So that can happen. The Olam Asiyah Kamashikosa Bekolchkein Kamashikosa Beklipa V'Seterachir Aleimer Li Yoide Ve'Aniya Sisini, which is the pasuk that talks about Paroi, which is a klipa shehepach emes mamash. The emes so the vayvarach Yaakov es paroi vise betanchum over berashim kaimnei b'ma borchem shalom nilas nekrosei vashpos hatoy ve'elyon shenimshen hine paroi melech Mitzrayim. Not only Melech Mitzrayim v'Gvulim who oid kofu toiv v'oimer li oidi b'ani asisini shehepach emes in a kemoi kain.
Who said that? Paro? The Ori?
Yeah, Pare. Novi says that Pare said li oidi.
Where? We don't see it.
It's in the Novi. It's in the Novi. We read it in the Haftorah. So
The biggest keeper.
yeah. So stop for a second. Just summarize. He said that kucha bricha ma'ila ma'ila indicates mata mata then tachlis. So the Mitzvah will get into what's the pilpul of here. Well, what is he trying to get at? Saying that ma'ila ma'ila can be talking about the worlds of Atzilus and higher. He's talking about Bri Yitzid Asiya, and he's talking about the place of Klippa and Sitra Achra. And over there really is very little Gilul Lakus. And the place of Sitra Achra, they don't believe in the Eibishter even. And they're Kofu Toiv. So even over there, for it, there is a Gilul Lakus. And that's a Chidush, that even Mata Mata, Adin Tachlis, the Eibishter is Mezgal himself. Now the Frierdiker Rebbe is going to just digress and talk about in a person himself, where there's a Mata Mata Adin Tachlis. What's the Mata Mata Adin Tachlis in a Yid himself? Hine kemoi ken yesh negam ba'avoda b'chol ha'chavech b'bala hasokim v'yosh v'oyel. The bala hasokim hu masha choshev the koichi v'oitzum yodi osam li yisachai lazeh. Agam sheidei ha'mayim shu anoisam ha'koyach l'asachol u'birchas Hashem itasher u'maske shem shamayim al kol dover the dover b'iskoi. And this is a businessman that everything he says Baruch Hashem and thank Hashem. U'mekom ha'kim hine choshev the koichi v'oitzum yodi ha'inech rachmosei omdoloi. Emes Taka, he believes in the Eibishter, but he thinks that because he is very wise in his business, that he was matzliach. Well, as I seen him as mane ilui, b'chol inyonim yoz ba'avasei shumizga be'etzem ohusei v'nid meloi kechachmosei omdeloi. V'chein lahepach b'zman adoichek chas v'sholom hine hu ben amichas ruach v'shiflus the shneim einem emes. Why? Because when he was matzliach, he thought that chachmosei omdeloi. So now that he's not matzliach, he has an unbelievable nichas ruach.
But Rabbi Koche Otzem Yad, it's not only businessmen.
So we'll talk about the
It's
other people. Well, we'll
everybody,
talk that in
yeah.
a second. The other guys. Macha the bechaz Hashem itasher nitzarech liyas bashva behegish nafshe. It has to be bashva behim. If he's matzliach, it's in the Eibishter. He's not matzliach, again it's in the Eibishter. So why should he feel such a shlif shiflish as if he's not matzliach? He's a yukul. He's not a yukul. As if he's it's from Hashem.
You didn't that. So I didn't the
When he felt like a big, using a word in Russian, maladyets, it's a good word. When he felt like a big maladyets, when he was matzliach,
Big shot.
yeah. So now that he's not matzliach, he feels like a failure. But if it be bashva etzloi, because he knows that it's birchas Hashem, then he wouldn't feel on the michas ruach. So elo di yesh boi chitzon k'moi kena b'yoshe oil tagam shalom etoyre v'yedei shu toyres Hashem u'b'chol zeh hari efshe chalila shemikoyach hatoyre oimer dvar toyre shu hepach hatoyre v'hu kedugmas bala asokim tagam the maimim b'Hashem b'amuna pshuta shu yizborach hanoizim koyach lasas choyol u'b'yichas Hashem itasher b'kol zeh hine kasher inyonav matzlichim libo yizechu chalov yizgo b'atzmai. The time adover who the fee the etzem yisoy the eisek ene kedeboy ze shemamen who is borach anois and koich lasas chayol lorak etzle b'amuna pshuta b'lavad. Aval yisoy the eisek v'matan matan v'ene kedeboy liyas apitoyra v'lechein yoitzem izeh who kenis kelil. That just like by the businessman, he says it a second time. To emphasize that the problem is that even the Yisod of it is a maimin, he believes in the Eibishter, but the details over here, the side of the business is not going to buy.
It's mine only when it's success.
No, he's not.
No, he's saying he's fakert, he's maimin, but the problem is that when he's matzliach, right? So therefore, when he falls,
that's why I did this.
right? Exactly. Agam shaloi metoyre v'yedei shu toyres Hashem. Avaletzem alimud v'gufa yedei aina kedaboy. V'ud kasher loim da satoyre v'haina beis limude shecheach al nois natoyre. Kim u'etzla in yasichli. Emes Bechlal is why is he learning? Not because he wants to be a professor. He's learning because he wants to be close to Hashem. Well, Apoel, B'shas he learns, he gets so involved in Inyan Sichli. Lo yose etz l'sichli bavad, hine achkach sheyedea ma shalomed, hagam sheyedea shezo Torah Hashem, because harei gam hu sichli, v'lachein yochel chaz v'shalom lo medaber l'dayek inyan b'sichli, masho heipach ha-Torah. If it wasn't that way, it would naturally, he would never come to think something which is heipach ha-Torah. That's why, by a chosed zogelegt, or by Talmud, a Talmud of the Rajma, in the Talmud of the Ramban, in his mind of a Talmud of the Ramban, it's impossible that his Rebbe ever made a mistake of us. If there is a chacham umas ha'olam, is it not shaykh that the Talmidim will think that maybe he made a mistake? Because no, it's not shaykh. Because definitely that because so versteht so there's Indian that the Gemora says lo yuna tzaddik, and there's a special hatzlocha melamaila that a tzaddik has, but there's another nakuda which is clear in our minds that naturally by a tzaddik it's in the shaykh that's chaplig na svara which is neged HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It won't click in his mind. He'll think it'll come as say no, he'll reject it. It's a klepnish. He's going to say right away, give me a few minutes, I'll try to figure it out. Tomorrow I'll get back to you. It's a klepnish. It doesn't.
says, I know that nothing more.
Yeah, exactly. It's a klepnish. He's going to, why? Because naturally he like feels Ratzon Hashem, and this svara maybe is a good svara. The chiddush seems like a good chiddush, but it doesn't clap. So a person that's not that way, so could end up being medayik in his mind something which is heipach ha-Torah. Behind the bechulas inyan, the gam shemakabel chayis melakush ma'amas, v'komakim yochlis chad v'sham heipach halakus, v'lefish ha'or bo berivet tzimtzumim ha'lomas v'asteirim v'yoyse. Because of him, the oil is coming in a very big mitzumtzum way. Dunya teva, oshin tuba b'yamsov. What's the shot from the word teva? That it's hiding. That the lakus over here is hiding. Sha'or ba hu mutba behester vehelam b'yosef. Shaba meribe ishtal shel sa'or shemistal shel madrega l'madrega the madrega yosef acharoina. So really, in this nakuda and this ois was just to say what's the shot kuchabrichu maila aden kates. And the opposite is mata adin tachlis. In Mitzvah Shem, next 2 weeks, we'll talk about what's this apilpul that ever. So what's negeya that it starts only in Bri Yitzir Asiyah, and what's negeya that it's neshamas malachim ve'cholos. But upon him that there and ad kedekach that the Eibishter in this gala, even a place of klippus that they denied the existence of the Eibishter. The Frierdiker says that Basi also there is. In our own life, we have a mata. Like, what's the mata? A paroi. That he says, you already leave, aniyasisini. So we have to be introspective and look in ourselves. If chas v'shalom, we're not, that our business is not in the way of a paroi, that our limud Torah is not in the way of paroi.
The concept of a little material, making the little and stop, think who is giving the day.
Right. The outer means in time, like every hour, like,
Stop.
and he stops and he, okay, that's Hashem is Baruch. We'll continue.
Very good. Thank you, Rebbe.
This was a Rebbe elucidating a fragment of the Frierdiker.
No. Tonight we learned to Frierdiker Rebbe's mind.
This is the actual mind of Frierdiker Rebbe only, right?
Yeah.
I'm learning to understand.
What's the learning tonight?
Actually, that's mine only.
What's the LeGani?
Yeah, you try.